All right. Well, we're beautiful.
We look great.
Okay. Well. Heavy Petting with Sherry Hardman, where comedians discuss their pets and their love lives. Heavy Petting. Welcome to Heavy Petting with Sherry Hardman. We are back after a long hiatus. Episode 87. This is Julia Irely. How are you, Julia?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I've been sleeping most of the day, so.
That's great.
It's hot. I hear it's hot outside.
Yeah, I've been out there. It's hot. It's nice. It's beautiful out. It's pretty, but it is hot.
Yeah. Well, I've been sleeping in the AC, so I come out sometimes like a bear that's been in a cave, like, oh, wow, what's going on out here? So I'm isolated. Anyway, oh, here you have a pet.
I do, yeah. Let's see if I can get her over here. She's, we're at my office because I want it to be nice and quiet. And so it's a brand new.
Okay.
Lily, come. She's going to ignore me. I'm going to have to go pick her up.
That's the way.
Come here.
A lot of times.
Oh. So people hear a lot about my dog in my comedy, and the sweet cat, this is Lily Fang.
Fang?
Lily Fang, yep, like
okay.
Fang. And she gets the short end of the stick in terms of stories because she's just the perfect little angel. And so there's not a lot of funny stories about her being perfect. So I decided it was her turn.
Well, she is really pretty.
I think so, yeah. When we went to pick her out, I didn't have a lot of, requirements, but I figured let's get an adult cat because the kittens always get picked, right? And I thought it'd be fun to have a cat that had two colors, any colors. And she just seemed like a fit.
So you got her from like a shelter?
Yep, we got her from Seattle Humane Society over in like Bellevue, Factoria area. And well, I'll tell that story. So that is actually a little bit of a heavy petting story in terms of like my relationship with my husband. And now I have cat fur in my eyelashes. This is great. So I grew up with pets, and my husband really didn't. Like the biggest pet responsibility he had was like a turtle. And I had convinced myself that I was okay without pets. I understand they're a lot of work, whatever. And then after we've been married a couple of years, like I was just like, my life is an empty, meaningless void without pets. Like I was just so upset and trying to not like push him into it, but just like, man, like I really miss having pets. And he finally was like, you know what? I think you should get a cat. And I just started bawling because I knew that he was nervous about, that commitment.
Right.
And the fact that like he knew how important it was to me. And he was like, let's get a cat. I was just like, man, this is the best. And he said, okay, we're going to go after Thanksgiving because we don't want to get a cat and then go out of town, so he's like, okay, after Thanksgiving, we'll go to the shelter. So we fly back in town from Thanksgiving, don't even go home, just pick up our car and immediately go to the shelter. Like, don't even go home first.
Oh, wow.
And find Lily. And I had no supplies. I didn't have a cat box, nothing, because I hadn't had a cat in forever. And so we put down a deposit on her and then went to Petco and got all the stuff and went and picked her up and brought her home. Then within like 2 days of having her, she came home from the shelter with something called calcivirus, which it's just something they can pick up in the shelter, but they can get really sick with it. And she did. So within 2 days of getting this cat, I'm living on student loans. And I'm like, I got to take this cat to the emergency room. And so we had like a $250 vet bill within like 2 days of having this cat. My husband, had agreed to get. And I was like, we're going to get a young cat. She won't have big vet bills for a while, till I'm out of school. $250, like right.
Oh, no.
And she's fine now. She's great. And my husband is in love with her. And I constantly joke that I'm getting snuggle blocked by this cat. And he is obsessed with this cat now. It's ridiculous. Like I figured it out when he got his wisdom teeth out and he was hanging out with her. And the next thing I know, he's criticizing the way I'm brushing her. He's like, no, you have to brush the sides of her tail so that it fluffs properly. And I'm just like, Well, thank God we didn't get a cat since you hate cats so much. Like, he is obsessed with his cat now. So that is the lily pad story.
Oh, well, that's a great story. I mean, first of all, I always love to hear when people adopt pets, because there's just too many animals, unwanted animals out there.
No.
And it's nice. I love that he said, I think you should get a pet. Will you have him teach that to my husband? Because at our house, this is the way it goes. I get a pet, and then my husband is mad for a while until he falls in love with the pet, and then it becomes his pet. Like, all the animals prefer him, and it's like, he didn't even want you guys.
Just for the record, I'm the one that picked you. Yeah.
But yeah, they all go to him. So it's like, I'm definitely second banana in our. So I was going to ask you if you had kids when you were a kid. I mean, pets when you were a kid, but you already answered that. Did you grow up with cats or dogs or both?
With cats. We had a dog before I remember, like before I was 2. But then I grew up with cats. That's what we always had. And I don't think we ever didn't have a cat. We always had a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did too. Do any of your pets sleep in bed with you?
Yes, but not all the time. So the dog, sometimes we'll let him sleep with us on weekends, like if it doesn't matter if we get a good night's sleep. But usually, like on weeknights, like on school nights or work nights, he sleeps in his own little bed, and the cat just kind of goes wherever she wants.
Right.
Sometimes she'll sleep with us. Sometimes she likes to sleep, like not with the dog, but like on a chair near the dog. So she'll do that. Or sometimes she'll sleep with us.
I know what's weird, I think, about cats is that you notice how they pick a spot they want to sleep for a while, and then a couple of weeks later they switch.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know where our cat spot is right now, but it's like sometimes it's on the cat tree, sometimes it's above the dryer. I mean, just imagine if we did that, like, oh yeah, tonight I'm gonna sleep in the bathtub. It's kind of weird.
No, I have noticed that. You're right. I wonder if it has to do with like if the weather changes, if it's a temperature thing, but I know what you're talking about. They have a spot for a while and then it's a new spot.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's variety is the spice of life. What do you think about people that don't like cats?
I mean, if I'm being honest and judgy, I don't like them. But, I understand if you've never really been, if you haven't had your own cat, it's hard to understand what that relationship can be like, because cats don't tend to like people that aren't their person. So I can understand if you haven't grown up with them, that you think they're kind of aloof and rude or whatever. And it's like, if it's your cat and you have a relationship with them, it's very different.
Right.
And I just worry a little bit. I have jokes about this, like people disrespect cats all the time, and I'm sick of it. And I'm going to run on for office on a platform of #CatRights. Because honestly, I think there is a lot of people just like shitting on cats. And I think it maybe contributes to abuse if people kind of put them down. But that happens to dogs too. So I don't really know. So I don't like it when people say they don't like cats. But I understand if they've never had one, it's hard for them to put themselves in that situation where you can have that relationship. But it's still a living thing, that deserves respect. I mean, I dumped somebody once because he was talking shit about my cat. Actually, he kept joking about killing my cat, like putting her in a pillowcase and throwing her in the lake, and I dumped him. I was just like, nope, we're done.
Yeah. I've always theorized, and I haven't really given that much thought to it, that how cats are very much like they have their own mind. You can't talk a cat into doing anything, And I wonder if there are people that struggle with control issues, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard that cats are a lesson in consent. And I think that's kind of an interesting point. And my dog is a lesson in consent because he's got a lot of issues. So that is an interesting point. Or maybe it's people that prefer, maybe if they're more extroverted, they prefer a more like interactive relationship. Maybe it's a control thing. It's an interesting point.
Yeah, I like to think about it a lot because I hear people say that, and then my first instinct is like, because we always had cats since I was a kid too, and I'm like, how can you not like a cat? But like then I watch videos and of cats doing kind of asshole things like they do sometimes, you know. I don't know if you've seen those ones where they're like knocking stuff off shelves, you know, like they sit right next to you and look at you like, you know, but they always seem to go to the people that don't like cats.
Yeah, and you know what I feel like that is because those people leave them alone. And I think that's why my cat loves my husband. And I would say like one thing that I'm actually trying to work on to be a better pet owner is to not over snuggle my cat, you know, because it is important. Like if she's like not having fun, you know, just because she's smaller, that doesn't mean it's okay for me to just like overcrowd her, right? And I think sometimes cats, and actually my dog, who's kind of like a cat, like people that give them their space. Yeah, and I think that's fair. I understand that.
That makes sense, totally. Let's see if there's anything else I want to ask you about pets before we move on to heavy petting of the human variety. Do you think of your pets as your children?
I mean, that's like, I understand they're not the same as human children, but I definitely treat them as family members. Like I would never move somewhere without them, you know, and like I take their health seriously. We make sure to keep up with the vet and all that stuff. So I treat them as family members.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about heavy petting of the human variety. And I just remember that I need to define that for some people. Because I'm old and it's an old people thing. Heavy petting is what we used to call like making out. And so when we talk about heavy petting, we're talking anything in the realm of dating, love, marriage, sex, whatever. And so I always ask, do you have an interesting, cute, funny story about heavy petting that you'd like to share? I remember last time you told a story about a guy making out with somebody else at a party and you punching him in the face. It was a fantastic story because I don't always remember the stories that people tell me, but I remember that one because I can't picture her punching anyone in the face. So
yes, that did happen. That was, yeah, I think the statute of limitations has passed on that. But I think I Googled that before I told that story. And there was no permanent damage. But yes, that is a true story. And that did happen. Yeah. And then dating got a little better after that. So.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, tell your story. And yeah,
okay. So I brought a couple cute stories about my husband, actually. So I told you the one about, you know, him hearing how much I wanted a pet, which is really sweet. And then there was another time when we were dating. And the idea is sort of like sometimes it is the effort that matters, right? So he shows up to my apartment. I was living with my best friend, and he shows up to bring me a flower, and I open the door and he's got a rose that's like snapped off at the top. And I'm like, what happened? So he had bought me this rose, and he goes to get out of the car and hits it like on the door jamb and snaps it off. And he's just standing there like, oops. And I was like, that is so cute that, like, I mean, you tried, man. Like, you tried. Like, right. You know, yeah, it got snapped off in the door jamb, but I see where you were going with this. That was really sweet. And another time, like, he had me over for dinner and he made chicken burritos, and there was all these like mismatched candle, you know, it was a candlelit dinner, but it was just like whatever like leftover candles he could find. So I was like, man, like, this is so sweet, like the effort put into this, you know. Right. That was great. And then one of my favorite things about my husband was actually when he proposed. And this is kind of, I mean, it's kind of along the lines of like control and consent, right? So when he asked me, you know, will you marry me? He actually stopped and waited for the answer, right? Like, I've seen some proposals where the guy's asking and already putting the ring on and going in for a kiss. Like, of course, right. Yes, you know, doing it in front of a bunch of people. He did it. It's just us two. And he sat there and he waited for me to answer the question. Like, it was a real question. And I was like, that is so great. And of course I said, yeah, I think I said definitely is what I said. And I just thought that was so sweet that it was a real question. It wasn't just a check the box, you know, to make himself look good. And I thought that was so sweet.
That is sweet.
It's important, you know, like I feel like everybody should propose like that. It's like, it's a real question and it's a big decision.
Now, where did you guys meet, or how did you meet?
We met doing music together, actually, at a church in another part of town we used to live in. And it was actually a bilingual English-Spanish service. And I had just come back from like some travels in Mexico. And we kind of became friends through that and like bonded through that. And then we actually played softball together. There was a church league, and I still to this day, I think there was this other girl at church that kind of liked him because there was a church softball league, and she kept like telling me at the last minute, like when the practices and games were, like she was kind of trying to technically invite me, but so that I couldn't show up, and just kind of like creeping on Greg, and that's my husband's name. And then he's like, oh, well, I have a work team that you could play on. So I ended up playing on his work softball team. And we were just friends for a long time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I think I like this guy. Like, this is changing. So yeah, we met at church is the short answer, but we kind of bonded over music and softball.
That's nice. That's a good, wholesome story. And you know, I don't mean anything wrong, but your husband is hot. He's really a handsome guy. So, yeah, so you got a good catch there. I mean, not that matters in the big scope of things, but it doesn't hurt, right?
Right. It doesn't hurt anything. Yeah. And I like to think, I think he's aging very well. Like he's got a little gray in his beard. He's got some cute little crow's feet. And I tell him all the time, I just walk by and I'm like, you're pretty.
Yeah. And why is that the gray looks good on them and not on us? Is that just us hating ourselves, or is that a real thing, you know?
I think so. I think it has to do with like just BS society expectations, and we internalize that, and then we see it on ourselves and we think it looks bad. And I'm kind of trying to rework some of that. And it's hard.
I think women when they go totally gray and they have that beautiful like white, like Mary Lugamba, she looks great. Like
I love her hair.
I do too.
Yeah.
But when I think about it for myself, I'm like, no, and I don't know. But my husband's, I think it's totally sexy. You know, well, first of all, my husband looks like a child anyway because he just has a baby face. So at least I'm feeling like he's starting to like. You don't even know how many times people ask me questions about my son when we were out, or oh, is that your mom? I'd be like, man, don't
really?
do it. Yeah, so.
Oh, that's weird. I mean, I get what you're saying about him kind of having a baby face, but like I wouldn't have thought he was your kid. That's yeah.
Well, let me just say that every time it happened, I didn't have any makeup on, so.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I've been there. People are like, wow, you look great. I'm like, yeah, it's called makeup.
Yeah. All right. So last time I asked you, what's the best compliment you've ever gotten on your naked body? Today I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite part of your body? What's your favorite body part of yours?
I did not prepare for that because I prepared for the first question, and I was going to update you that it's the same. So now I got to think about, okay, well, I just feel like this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think I have super cute feet, and I don't feel like that should be a sexual thing. And now it's going to be a whole like foot fetish thing, and there's going to be weird people in the comments, but I legitimately think that I have super cute feet.
That is a great answer, because I used to have super cute feet too, I thought, but now I've got gross old lady toenails. And so I miss those days. Like my feet are shameful to me, so I have to hide them, but you can wear sandals and like enjoy that and have cute little toenails and stuff. So yeah, I don't, the foot fetish people, they can just stay in the closet and they can keep comments to themselves.
Yes.
Because I get the nice looking pretty feet. So congratulations. I am jealous.
Okay.
All right. And right now's the time to show them off because it's summertime and you can wear sandals all the time if you want. Or you could even go barefoot. Not like places, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
lucky
no,
you.
I'm definitely starting the sandals for sure. I've got flip flops that are supposed to be house shoes, and I'm just going outside in them. It's just so nice out there.
Well, when I put my sandals on, I mean my tennis shoes on, I'm going to be going, that bitch Julia Irely. She gets to wear sandals.
You know, you could just wear sandals. I mean, it's not illegal. You could just do it. No. Especially
like, yeah. All right. Well, it was lovely having you on. I'm going to let you go now. Enjoy the day. Thank you so much for sharing your kitty cat with us.
Yeah,
and,
you're welcome.
Yeah. So I'll put the.
I'm excited that it's back. I love heavy petting.
Do you? I do too. I know. The pandemic really messed it up for us. And I really didn't at first like going to Zoom because it makes it hard for dogs.
Yeah.
It makes it hard for dogs.
Yeah, it would have been hard to do my dog for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. We're doing the best we can. We're staying safe. We're staying healthy, and we're enjoying some pets. So, shoot, I was going to say something. What was it? Oh well. Anyway, have a lovely. I was going to say that I will edit this and put out the perfect little product. I'll let you know when it's out. Awesome. And all right, thank you so much for being my first guest back. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Oh wait, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to promote? Anything like that?
Oh, do I? I can't believe I think I'm going to say no because I have to sign up for a bunch of stuff for next month. I'm going to Phoenix July 26th to August 2nd. And I'm hoping to get on stuff there. It's kind of just about time to reach out. Like I had a few people that said to let them know when I was going to be back in town. So I'm really hoping to get on some stuff there. So that's July 26th through August 2nd, but nothing specific on the books. Right. And when I get like my July schedule, I have a link tree on my Facebook that I'll update when I get July stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Heavy petting. Heavy petting.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, weird.